Hello everyone. Today it's gonna be about painting. I'll be working with oils on a small canvas, 12 by 12, and I've developed this sort of exercise for myself for my painting because oftentimes when I paint, I don't feel very confident, not as confident as I when I do my graphic work. And so because of that, I decided to, improve that. And I've developed for myself this quick exercise. And when I do this, I try to loosen up so I don't end up drawing with brush, but painting, which means more like pushing paint on the surface of canvas. So yes, because for me, art making, whatever it is, it's not only, of course, about self, how do you say, self expression, but also, and probably more, for me, it's always problem solving. I'm trying, when I do something, I try to paint or draw or make prints, whatever it is, but I always try to solve some problems, and somehow when I do solve them, it gives me pleasure. And then oftentimes when I solve my problems successfully, it just gives me great satisfaction. So many years ago, I visited Sausalito, California, and I saw these tuna boats, fishing boats with reflection. It was a beautiful sunset, kind of golden, very beautiful, and it stuck in my memory. So this is a quick sketch I'm trying to make just to show you what I'm going to do today. And when I make my sketch, I already try to solve problems. I try to figure out my tonality in my future painting, what will be darker, what will be lighter, what will be different value. In this case, I'm working on toned paper. It's kind of brownish, has medium tonal value. Then for darks, I'm using my charcoal, and I can use it like this, which will be very dark. Then I can use it like this, will be more medium. Then somewhere in the middle, there will be this area, which is medium tonal value. After that, I can go slightly lighter, and then lighter yet. So this is a gradation of tonal value. This is our gradation. So we can go from very dark when I apply full power on my charcoal to very light with everything in between, and with natural tone of this paper serving as a medium tonal value. So I'm trying, as you see, I have colors on the palette. So I'll be painting, and it will be limited palette exercise, trying to loosen up. But color will not work without value. So we have to first figure out our value arrangement, and then the color will only work if our value arrangement is nice and clear. So as you see, I decided I will be using like source of light, which it was a sunset. So let's say light hits it from here. These areas will be open to light, and the areas on the other sides will be not. The reflection will be dark. The ocean will most likely have medium value with some highlights in it, and then sky. So this is enough for sketch. And so now I will put my canvas. And there are many different ways to do an oil painting, and I will just show you one of them. And as I said, I've developed it for myself. So I'll start working with kind of large brush, and I'll take a little bit of white. On my palette, I have light blue, I have cobalt blue, which is darker, I have a little bit of Payne's gray, and I have yellow. Basically, I'll be using yellow and blue. So these colors are somewhat opposite on the color wheel. The opposite to yellow is actually purple. The opposite for blue is orange, but I'll be using yellow and blue. That's just what I decided for today. Yellow and blue, basically, and then a little bit of Payne's gray, and then, of course, white, and then just in case, maybe for future, for ending my painting, I have a little bit of red on my palette. I also have some ultramarine on the side and some violet, purple. And in case I will decide to cheat a little bit, I might use a little bit of those. So when I mix my light blue with white, I get a very light value of blue, okay? So now I'll start working with it, just randomly. And as you see, I'm not using any turpentine or any oil at this moment. And the reason, one of the reasons for that is because I kind of want to make it quick, speedy. As you see, there was some leftovers on my brush, so it made this kind of color, but it's okay. We have to be prepared to deal with any kind of accidents in painting, and oftentimes it's for our advantage. So now I added a little bit of yellow, because mostly the sky will be kind of yellowish, kind of golden. And my goal is to get rid of white canvas as soon as I can. And one of the reasons why I am working with very thick paint in this case is because I want to speed it up. Because, traditionally, most painters for traditional painting, they start with turpentine for the underpainting, but then the problem with that is that often it takes a while for that turpentine to evaporate, and then the surface of canvas becomes slippery, and it's not always good. So in this case, I want to be very thick, so my future brush strokes would go on a nice thick support. See what I mean? So now I will keep doing this. I'll keep covering my surface. As you see, I'm using very thick paint, and at the same time, so I'm doing several things simultaneously. I am covering up the surface of the canvas. At the same time, I'm trying my colors, my limited palette, and I try to mix this and that and see what could happen when I do that. What kind of colors, what kind of shades I can get. Just adding a little bit, not adding much. So this will provide me with a very nice thick layer of paint, and I will be ready for my future applications. And I'm using slight gradations of value. Some brush strokes are a little bit lighter, some are a little bit darker. Again, this is just one of the ways to paint. It doesn't have to, of course, always be this. And so I've developed this for myself, for these quick exercises. Okay, so now I'm basically done with this. Okay, So now I will have to find my boats. So I'll just take, let's say, this brush. I might dip it a little bit in turpentine here, just so it receives paint a little bit better. And then I'll get rid of too much turp. I also have linseed oil mixed with a little bit of damar varnish. So linseed oil, let's say approximately 5 parts total, and one part is damar varnish. So what that does to me when I use this as my painting medium, it's not going to be runny. It's going to be rather thick. Plus, very soon, because I have a little bit of varnish in my mixture, very soon it will start sort of almost drying. So it will not be, my surface here will not be slippery. So now I will find my boats. The source of light will be sunset, okay? So it means that light will be warm, hot, and shadows most likely will be cool, because if we have warm source of light, the shadows are going to be cool. So I'm blocking in some large areas, trying to work quick and loose, trying not to draw with my brush, but paint with it. So moving paint on the surface of my canvas. So sometimes they call it moving colored dirt, or because it's pigments, it's clay and some other things. So we're moving this colored substance on the surface of the canvas. Okay, again, keeping in mind the surface of the direction of the light will be hitting these boats on the left, so we will have deep shadows on the right. Hot light means cool shadows. Okay, so at this time maybe I'll work a little bit on my lights. So I'll grab a different brush here and I'll mix something hot. I'll take white, I'll mix it with saturated yellow, and I'll apply some lights here. So far I'm only using blue and yellow. And I try to stay with that for as long as I can. So I build my layers. I work with, I'm doing a limited palette. So I'm only working with yellow and blue and this time, and I'm trying to see how far I can go just using those two colors, because oftentimes, especially beginners, when they start painting, you see how they put whatever they have on their palette, all paint that they have on their palette. So there is a huge variety of paint. It's not always good, for an experienced painter. It's okay, it's not gonna corrupt him or her, but for a beginner, oftentimes it makes some sort of temptation, because when you have all these nice colors, you kind of want to start using them right away. As a result of that, or oftentimes the color gets muddy. Plus, as we've mentioned at the beginning, it is important to think about values, not just color, but value. What is darker, what is lighter. We'll move this bottom a little bit lower because this boat is slightly closer to the viewer. Okay, so let us do this now. We can also use our Payne's gray. So when we use that, it will make whatever we have slightly darker, plus oftentimes it will kind of make our color kind of calmer and a little bit more even sophisticated, I would say. A little bit more complicated. The boat in front, all the edges and shadows and the borders of light and shadow will be sharper because it is closer to the viewer, so it will be darker, and the one on the background is going to be lighter, and all kind of edges there will be lighter as well. At this time I have a feeling that I want to make the top of the sky in the top area of our painting a little bit darker. See, I'm constantly trying to mix things. I'm trying not to apply one color, one value everywhere. So it's in a way, it's almost like you're making a mosaic. You're mixing this little bit shades, this little bit slightly different, varieties of color and value. You're applying it and sort of creating some sort of mosaic. When you look from a closer distance, it might look almost like harsh, but then if you step back a little bit, you will see how it will all kind of come together. And as you see, my previous layer in is already kind of getting very thick and not dry, but kind of thick. So I'm suggesting some clouds here, trying to move my brush, trying to paint with it, not draw with my brush. So as I said before, this is my own kind of development. I've developed this so I can get rid of this feeling that I'm over controlling my paint, and then it becomes the painting becomes kind of overdone and kind of dry looking. This exercise helps me loosen up a bit. So right now we're working with masses, but as you see, every now and then I go back and I include some sort of elements of graphics. At this point, I can work a little bit with palette knife for some harder edges. Okay, so it makes this kind of random marks. So in the shadow, in few places, I will be mixing slightly lighter shades or slightly darker shades. So that way my shadow is not going to be just dull, but it will have some sort of life in it. A little bit lighter, a little bit darker, because oftentimes in this kind of light situation we get some reflected light in our shadows. So that must be the case right now. We'll work a little bit more on my reflection here. Just trying to suggest little kind of waves there. Okay. Now I will start using a little bit of red, because I had a little bit of red. Mostly I've built my values here, but now I feel that it's time to introduce a little bit of red, so it will provide us with warmer temperature. It will give nice contrast to our very cool shadows. And in some areas I'll make the light on the light side of the boat slightly darker, so it's a little bit different from in value and temperature from the sky behind. Whatever is going to be happening in the background will be slightly less aggressive than in front. So yes, I'm making it more hot, but still making sure it's slightly cooler, and then the boat in the foreground. Now I can put a few of these red ones in the water. So as soon as we put that red, it creates this kind of like color tension. Now I'll take a different brush and I'll try to make the light on the clouds. So it should be slightly lighter than the medium value of the sky, but still warm, very warm, because it's sunshine. The sun is very low, and so it hits the clouds from the bottom, and it creates this line of light. Trying to make it more warm, so it provides more temperature difference between cooler shadows on the clouds and warm lights. And then here, where it's very close to the horizon, it's gonna get lighter in value. So make it lighter. As you see, I'm not trying to stay with my brush in one area for too long. I'm constantly trying to mix something and add something. So that is how I try to paint looser. So the painting, this kind of painting will look more, kind of fresh, more spontaneous, more about color, more about expression, more about feeling, and significantly less about, information about minor details and so on. Again, it doesn't always have to be this way. It just in this particular case, I want my painting to be a little bit more expressive, a little bit more loose. So now I will take a very thin brush. I hope I will find it. Here it is, and I'll make a little bit more graphical elements. So I'll just take open red and make few lines here. If it's gonna be too much, later I'll go back and I'll get rid of some of them. So these kind of elements provide a nice juxtaposition to loose spots. So it's not just some wild dauber, but in few places more controlled lines, and combination of those will hopefully make our painting more interesting. Also, at this point, I have a feeling that I want to show some mountains on the background between the edge of the ocean and the sky. So I'll take a little bit of cobalt blue and I will try to mix it very kind of cool. So it will almost look kind of purplish. Maybe I'll add a little bit of black so to play it down so it's not just raw and open blue. Just suggesting some mountains on the background, because I remember this is how it was in South Salita. There were some mountains there on the background and it just looked magnificent. So as you see, as soon as I added this like very cool purplish cobalt light cobalt, it provided me with even more temperature and color tension. I'll put some of it here. and I will even put some of it here in the sky to, you know, to make some sort of connection, because if we put that color somewhere in our painting, it's always better to put it elsewhere, so there is more connection. Now I want to work a little bit more on lines, on graphics here, try to be a little bit more precise with this, but not too precise, still loose. This is a little bit too bright. I want to play it down a bit because it's too bright right now. I want to add a little bit of opposite color so it's a little bit more calm. Otherwise it's just too kind of crazy. So in order to make color calmer, less aggressive, we can add a little bit of black, or we can do add a little bit of opposite color. So in this case our opposites are hot yellow and red, and cold blue. Okay, so at this point I'll take my very thin brush and we'll add a little bit more lines, just a few more lines here. Solving my problems, trying to loosen up in painting, trying to just become slightly better, one little step at a time. Wherever we feel that we're not so good and we try to improve, when we do improve, it gives us pleasure and satisfaction, and besides, your viewers, when they see your painting, they feel there was something, so there was some tension, and they feel it, they sense it, and very likely they will, because of that, they will like your painting, they might buy it, take it home, and you will buy yourself some more art supplies. So as you see, I'm trying to solve several problems at the same time. At this time, I want to unify these areas a little bit more. I don't like how it's all sort of broken. So I will try to unify. I'll try to mix slightly cleaner color. And just add few brush strokes here. Trying to, I need it lighter. Trying to unify and simplify, because there is just too much activity there. We don't want everything to be super busy. It's a good idea to have some areas of excitement, but if it's too much excitement, your viewer will get tired at looking at your painting, and they will just want to go home and have tea. So too much excitement is not good. So we need some excitement in certain areas, but if we feel it's too much, we need to try playing down some areas. So we have some sort of combination areas of high excitement combined with area that provide us with some sort of rest. Okay, I'm about done. I feel like I want to play this down a little, make it slightly more plain, but still some of this red will remain, and we will see it through. Okay, at this time I have a feeling that I want to add a very bright red, and you know, they use those little I believe they're called buoys, so I'll put a couple of those here with very bright red, and there will be some reflection will be slightly darker. And then again, I'll go back to my very thin brush. And add just a few more lines. Also, I'm going to show the shadow on those buoys as well, because those are opaque objects, so the light will hit them on the left side just like it does with the boats, and then on the right side naturally the shadow will occur. Finishing up my painting here. Okay, so I think it's good enough, and I think I'm done. It's enough for this kind of quick exercise, and I don't want to make much more. I want to keep it loose, and that was my goal. So hopefully this exercise will help me improve and will help me make my paintings looser. As I said before, I've developed this exercise for myself, for self-improvement. It doesn't always, of course, have to be this kind of painting, and in my future demos, I'm going to share some other ways of painting with you. I better stop, because now it's a little bit too much. I'll play that down a bit. We don't need such hard edge there on the background because it's farther. And at this point, all we have left is just signing our painting. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be making more demonstrations for you soon. I'll try to post something every week, and please don't forget to like if you do like, and then definitely subscribe. And I appreciate your attention. Thank you very much, and have a very nice day. Bye.